Alright, another boss time, boys. Let's do this. Boss is super simple, easy fight. It's actually pretty interesting. First things first is listen to the jamming music, but I wrote down the entire timeline already here. You guys can see it on the Union Raid solo team comms guide that I have, solo raid Union Raid guides, but we have written down kind of basically what everything that he will do. We've written down, and chances are challenge mode it's gonna be similar except probably tankier parts. First things first is parts are here. You can attack the parts right there. Those are two parts that are happening, and he'll constantly do QTE throughout the fight. If you fail that QTE, I'll show that later. There's specific QTEs where he goes down and specific QTEs where he doesn't go down. And then there's specific times when he does, like, after he goes down, he'll do this shockwave where if you didn't cover, you're gonna get stunned. If you covered properly, you're gonna do that. And if you did, and then he'll do this poison thing. If you didn't cover, you'll get poisoned. 144%. That is pretty much like deadly at challenge mode. There's a good chance that you'll that is likely a high damage, so you gotta watch out of it. But if you covered properly, then you will be able to guard that and prevent the poison. So you see that everyone else in here was not poisoned. And then afterwards, he'll do a respawn on the parts. So really, at that first 35 seconds, you want to make sure that you can destroy the parts ASAP. Now, if you are doing something like Snow White, I think you will be able to time it properly. If you fast charge and then charge again, you'll be able to time with Yulha. So just get that in. Depending on that, parts will respawn depending how fast you do the QTE. So if you actually finish the QTE fast enough, you might be able to reach the time on Yulha. Might need to double check on that. If not, then if you can't reach that with Yulha, then maybe you have to hold destroying that parts until like do that. So just Snow White tech that I wanted to point out, and then obviously just destroy the parts. Now he will do these toxic bullets, the guns, and it actually targets the highest attack. So guillotine and your scarlet are more likely to get targeted on it. But the good thing about it is this is only in the first phase. If you actually get to the second phase, he stops doing the toxic bullets, and I'll talk more about the second phase later. But these toxic bullets are targeting the highest attack, but they are not a threat to the low HP unit like guillotine or scarlet. And there are ways to kind of go about it. Okay, so let me fail this QTE here, which is one of the horns basically. If you fail the QTE here, he'll do this toxic dust, and it's a sludge bomb, and it's just, it goes through cover from what it seemed like. So yeah, and then yeah, there it's targeting my Alice right now because she has my highest attack here. And then he's gonna do another QTE. If I do this, yeah, and then he respawned the part. So I'm at around this timeline right now where I did the QTE and that. And then the next one, he's gonna do another QTE, and then if I hit him here, he's gonna go down right there. So yeah, so this is where he goes down. And then after he goes up again, he's gonna do that shockwave again, which will stun you. That you want to make sure you can keep attacking until the end, until it happens, and then just cover and then continuous attack, and then keep attacking here. And then you gotta cover this. You wanna cover that entire thing. Yeah, so you don't get any poison, and then just attack. And then after that, this is second phase. That's when he destroys the armor. And one thing I forgot to tell you guys is he actually has a core, but the core is when he has the armor, it's mainly damageable by Pierce units. So it would be like Alice, Red Hood would be one. But then the moment his core is exposed, you can yeah, So you do the QTE after he opens up his shield or his armor, and then his core is exposed. You do a pierce damage where you will hit the core and the parts. So core units, core damage piercers are really good at it. Modernia almost like doesn't really hit it, doesn't really hit the core until this second phase. Before that second phase, it is very hard to hit the core because the armor is kind of blocking the core. So now in this second phase, you can reach it between like 140 to 121 depending on how long you do the QTE. So depending on how fast you can do these QTEs, the sludge bombs, then you may arrive at this second phase faster or slower. So depending on what you want. But the AI is basically it's always gonna do this. It seems to be always doing this set of AI like behavior, basically toxic bullets, shockwave, and then now that it's phase 2, it's pretty much standard. So he's standing here. You might think that he's not doing anything. It's because he has a behavior that's like doing toxic rains, and I'll show you that once we fail that. So right now we're at this part, the shockwave, and then he's gonna do the toxic shelling after that, which is the sludge bomb kind of AoE wave, and then the parts are gonna respawn if you didn't kill the parts, or if you kill the parts, and then like yeah, so that's where he just throws these, and these, yeah, it goes through cover. So you really want to destroy the parts in here so that you don't get poisoned by these parts. And you can destroy them, and if you destroy them fast enough, he's gonna respawn the parts again, and then he's gonna do that QTE. So you do that. It's a pretty standard, like straightforward fight, and I think as long as you can destroy the parts, the fight is a relatively simple fight. Now you want to definitely take advantage of this. Like, you see there's 2 damage numbers that are showing up here, and that's because of the Pierce. And so Pierce is like really good here. So yeah, otherwise this boss is a pretty, that's it. That's really the best, the rest of the boss. So just focus on destroying the parts, and then he will do the QTEs, and that's it. It's all, I think, similar to Modernia. It's gonna be a lot more about min-maxing your damage. I think the way people would use Snow White will definitely be pretty important, especially with how you're gonna line up with Yulha. And speaking of which, I'm gonna talk about the teams that I had planned right now, and it might divert from how it is, but the teams that I have planned right now is pretty much right here. Standard, let me zoom in a little bit. So we have the standard Alice Modernia team comp because they benefit a lot from the max ammo increase that's happening here. And then Red Hood goes with Maxwell in this team comp. And yeah, so constant damage from core shots is really good. Red Hood gets buffed by Maxwell, so this is really good. And volume, because for the most part, I think you'll destroy the parts ASAP. So I think that volume would come out better than Dorothy in terms of this. And then you can also use Dorothy in another team that can help destroy the parts. So it would be Dorothy with like Scarlet here, and Anise and Privity synergizes with each other. Privity synergizes with Dorothy, and then Anise and Scarlet synergize with Privity as well. And then Novel is basically that's like the third best like B2 right now. So that would be the big thing. And then the fourth team, well, that's the fifth team technically, but my fourth team is the Snow White team with Yulha. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities to line up Yulha here. And now the biggest obstacle of this one is destroying the parts ASAP. So there might be other people that might end up struggling here, and then what you guys might end up having to do is like replace Bully with probably another DPS that can help break some parts to assist you. You know, it could be guillotine. I don't not A2 because there's no healer there. It could be like La Plus. I don't know. I don't know what you're gonna need. I don't know what else you're gonna need. There's also some entertainment on Solene because the boss, you know, that might end up helping weak the boss, and there is a possibility that you can just completely not do the mechanics on the boss, so that might help also. So yeah, that's primarily if you need, for some reason you need to DPS. We don't know how much it is gonna be. I think if you have a relatively decently geared Snow White, I think that would probably be helpful. And yeah, I guess that's the main thing about it that I think would be the biggest upgrade and damage. Now a lot of people are talking about like Summer Helm. Yeah, you could probably use Summer Helm as well in here, but I am saving Summer Helm for another team also. Summer Helm could be used here also with Mass, like buffing 2B and Guillotine. And then for Burst 1, you could use Jackal. I know that some people are gonna say, oh, Jackal and 2B doesn't like work anymore. The one thing that they patched on the Jackal and 2B is the distributed damage, but the second part of 2B should still be getting buffed by Jackal. So that's just what's happening, because previously Jackal was buffing both the distributed damage and the additional damage that was happening, so you can do that. So Jackal is still fine with 2B, but if you don't have Jackal, I think there is some people exploring Freema. Freema might end up healing Guillotine, but because of Mast, I think it will be fine. And Guillotine, if you have a lot of overload on max ammo and high level skill too, she might be able to outpace Freema's healing from her max HP increase. So that's just another thing as well. So just a side upgrade. And then I have Summer Helm here, but then, you know, maybe if you want to use Summer Helm instead, and then maybe just have another DPS, and I think that is fine as well. So just like have another extra DPS, additional DPS, or maybe like, I don't know, Snow White, Small White here. So I could see that actually also, because having an extra DPS would end up being probably better too. And in that situation, maybe find like a better B1 as well instead. That would probably be helpful instead, rather than Jackal. But yeah, the main ones are obviously Dorothy, Litter, Volume, Miranda, and then like the last one right now is kind of like whatever really fits your team comp, or whatever really fits like whatever's left over. Like not a lot of, yeah. So that's the main thing. And then some people are probably asking like, where's my A2 team? And yeah, you can put A2, right? Like just obviously it's just about making sure that you have a healer. So Pepper could work, Summer, Mary could work. These are possible things. We don't know. I don't know how tanky the parts are going to be on challenge mode. So we might get mileage out of A2 in that regards, especially for people that have lower or not have a lot of overloads on other teams. Then A2 might end up coming in clutch for that. So you could do that, but otherwise, like it is very right now. We have like the cookie cutter teams right now, and some people might entertain the idea of splitting off some DPS. So for example, if you have like weaker DPS on like your team 4, team 5, then you can probably remove Alice and put them somewhere else. And because you can actually use, for example, in here, you have Modernia to do damage or destroy the parts, right? And then you can, in this situation, you could use A2 here, or you could actually use Solines for that like healing, even though you don't really need healing. And then there's also Laplace. Actually, another thing that people have not realized, Sugar is actually not bad on the Modernia last solo raid with this team. I've seen other people use Sugar this way, actually, because she benefits from the ammo increase from Noir, and but then because the boss is far away, the effect is not as much as you would like. But you know, in case you want to split off the damage, you know, you don't have every meta units, then this could come in handy. So you could end up using that and then move Alice somewhere else. But yeah, otherwise, the boss is a relatively the I don't know if the challenge mode is gonna be any more difficult. I think this boss is relatively easy. Yeah, we'll see if the mechanics end up changing, but otherwise, yeah, just like find your Pierce units. Right now, Pierce is extremely strong in the meta, and you know, Red Hood is one of them, Maxwell is another, and yeah, you know, we'll see. And okay, so substitute for the other units, I guess. I think the biggest substitute questions that people are curious about is on burst 2, because like not everyone has a lot of burst 2s. So obviously we have novel, and you can do, for example, there's other popular team here where like if they don't have a lot, there's the Biscuit Bully team composition with this support team. This is basically the support team, so you have that, and then there's also Rupee, and Rupee would be not bad an option if you have like some people have overloaded Rupee and maybe they have elemental damage, and that might end up being good. Dala Mast, and then Adme is an option for the situations where, for example, some people just don't really have any other B2s and you want to do a reload, like heavy reload, or maybe like you don't have Summer Anise and you have Scarlet. You do this. This is like a classic good old like reload team comp. And then like any other DPS, right? Like that's another thing too. That is an option, but it's on the lower priority. And then we have, I don't think you would need healer, so I don't think Marciana would be that great. And we have Quincy also. Quincy is good as a DPS or DPS buffer, so you got that. And really any other 20-second units that are good. Yeah, that would be primarily it. Burst 1 is yeah, I already mentioned, it's like it's literally like Dorothy, Litter, Volume, Miranda. That's the main ones, and then the 50 is like right now it's Jackal and in the 2B Guillotine team. But if you have there's a lot more other options, but really it's like, oh, you could use Freema's Iron also. And yeah, and then if you're using A2, then you need like a healer, then it would be Pepper and Summer Mary. That'll be the main ones. How about Guilty? Yeah, you can use Guilty too. Yeah, this is just fillers, and since the boss is far away, the shotgun's effectiveness isn't as great, so that's the main downside for this. Yeah. And otherwise, yeah, for this one, just look at, actually a lot of the iron units are viable for the from the burst trees. I would say actually all of them should be usable in different degrees. Yeah. But yeah, a rather straightforward boss fight. I don't know if challenge mode is gonna be any different, if there's anything that we need to watch out for. The only thing I could think of that could skew this is if the parts end up being really tanky. If the parts end up being really tanky, I could see a lot more emphasis on A2, and maybe, like, for example, we couldn't like destroy the parts fast enough on the phase 2, and then the boss like throws those poisons, then we might end up needing healer. Yeah, we'll just have to see. Anyways, yeah, that's the rough teams. That is the, I would say, immediately what I would use, and we'll just have to see how it is. Oh, let me change back. Alan's here. Yep, there you go. They said Pierce helps. Yeah, Pierce is a lot of damage on the main body. Yeah, and yeah, I guess one thing I did not show it, but again, Modernia doesn't really. I talked about it, but I didn't show it. But Modernia doesn't really. Yeah, she's having a hard time hitting the core. Like, yeah. So you have to wait for phase 2 before she can really hit the core. So yeah, and that's why if you look at here for Pierce though, you see that, oh, that multi damage. Ooh, that's so good. Feels good, man. Yeah, so Pierce is really good here. Modernia now, yeah, basically. Harran Pierce is still mid here. You know what? Maybe Harran. You might be able to use Harran, maybe. But like, her burst doesn't really provide anything. But you can make her on the side. Let her attack on the side. Yeah, actually, Harran. Yo, I could. Yeah, no, you could. We could use. Chat, listen. We could use Nihilister and Harran. Oh my god, Pierce. Whoa. Yeah, the thing is, like, you know, if you don't really have anything else, that again, the Pierce does help. Yeah, they got Pierce. I don't know how they're gonna overly perform though in terms of this boss fight, but like, I think if you don't have anything else, I actually could see, like, for example, I could actually see Nihilister do better than Guilty. Yeah, so instead of Guilty, I would use Nihilister actually. So like, if you're using like DPS for that, yeah, go for it. Is Smol White a non-factor? No, you can use Smol White. Again, like any of the DPS, the iron DPS works. But yeah, Pierce, again, Pierce is good. So like, Laplace is also pretty decent here because like her burst is like Pierce also. Oh, dude, it's over now, dude. Smol White in shambles. Oh my god, Harran. It's over now, dude. Oh my. Mid white, dude. Reset red hood, go Harran, dude. Change the stocks. Wait, let me see my stats here. Hold up. Wait, what? Okay, I have. Okay, I have 2 LB damage, increased elemental damage, attack 1 attack line. 444 0000. Oh, she's 111 though. But then, like, she doesn't have anything. Yeah, none of these help. Like, there's nothing that buffs her. Not even attack. So, wait. But then she has more attack though from her core. She's core 4. Nihilister. And then my Harran is 445 with like no OLs. Chad's over. Pierce OP. How bad? Nihilister actually looking good. Hell yeah, bro. We might see Nihilister. Anyways, yeah. Pretty easy boss fight. Good luck, gamers, and I'll see you guys in the rankings.